Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryankaravavahe Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma Vidvishavahe. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha Guru Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Dayakaram Dayakaram Dantam Dharma Pravartakam Pranamami Dayanandam Madacharya-varam param. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Ajnanatimmirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Hari Om, Namaste to all. We are in the 4th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, and the topic that we are seeing now is the topic of avatara, or the divine incarnation, consciousness taking a particular name and form, but not in the usual way of coming into existence. So, for most people, there is birth, there is some existence, and then there is death. For consciousness that comes into divine incarnation, it is an appearance. So we saw that avatara, in fact, everybody is an avatara ultimately. We all have come into incarnation, but there is a uniqueness to this divine incarnation, because Krishna says, I know the script. He knows what the role is that he has to play in the script. We had also seen this idea of the 3 orders of reality, the Paramarthika reality, which is always there, no birth or death for the Paramarthika reality. It is free from any change. That is consciousness, Brahman, we call it. Then we saw another level of reality, Vyavaharika reality, which is, applicable to that which is born, which lasts for some time, and it also disappears in time. Whole universe is included in this Vyavaharika reality. So people, things, objects, and everything is always changing. The physical aspect of the individual is always changing. So the individual's intrinsic nature is Paramarthika, consciousness, but the name and form is Vyavaharika, and Jiva, we see the individuals are born and gone, born and gone. That is the nature of individuals. So birth and death continue for the one who does not know his or her true reality. So this is the second level of reality we have seen. And the third is Pratibhasika. The texts talk about this Pratibhasika reality, which is only available for a given person. It is a subjective world that we live in. So there's a reality for you that you live in inside your own mind. It is your projection on the Vyavaharika reality, which is available for everybody. The Vyavahara, you project your own subjectivity onto that. So the experience that you have is your own exclusive experience, like the dream. Dream experience is exclusive. So Vyavaharika is the world that you perceive. It is available for everybody. Krishna's appearance, we saw, is not Paramarthikam, because it is always, Paramarthika, that is that which is always there. Krishna's experience is also not vyavaharika because he has not been born out of karma. So things that come into existence is because of karmic reaction of past. So he is not vyavahara, he is not paramartika, and pratibhasika totally also, we cannot say he's totally pratibhasika. There is an in-between fourth category we can put Krishna's incarnation in, and that's between the subjective reality and this objective reality. So it is a very, very difficult birth to define in any way. Many people did see Krishna. He wasn't only available for one or two people to relate to. In the previous session, I had said it's purely pratibhasika, but we understand actually it is in between. That is a better understanding of Krishna, the avatara of Krishna. So he doesn't fall under any of the three categories. So what is the purpose of the birth? That's what we have to see. Today we're going to see Krishna himself says, why have I come into incarnation? It's a very famous next two verses, often quoted by many people. He says, Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhyuttanam dharmasya tadatmanam srijamyaham. So here, Krishna says, when there is a decline, there is a decay, there is a dissipation of dharma, of this righteous ethical living, yada yada hi dharmasya glanhi, when this dharma, this harmony in the universe is threatened, the ethical lifestyle is threatened by the unholy forces, then he says, I come into incarnation. And we have seen that it is a collective prayer of many individuals that brings Ishvara down into a physical form. So Vyashti Dharma, the ill-disciplined lifestyle of people neglecting what they have to do in their lives, all of this is a symptom of the decay in the order of dharma. So here, this is where Krishna says, yada yada hi dharmasya, when dharma is in decline, abhyuttanam dharmasya. He says, and then adharma, which is the opposite, is increasing on a large scale. In fact, you can see in the Jagat, in the world right now, what we're going through. Dharma seems to be decreasing and adharma increasing. So maybe it is time for some level of divine incarnation. We don't know what is going to happen. But he says here, when this adharma starts increasing, people don't know what roles they're playing in life. They neglect their duties, constantly following their raga and dvesha, their likes and dislikes. Then he says, I come into existence in a particular form for a particular purpose. So dharma is the universal infrastructure for our lives. It is in every place at all times as well. This dharma is the law and order of the universe. And we have seen that Ishvara is the very form of dharma. And adharma is violation of that law, which creates papa karma or unpleasant results for everybody. So this is the idea here. He says, tadatmanam srijami. I manifest myself when there is confusion, widespread confusion like this, when human beings are grabbing and grasping and they don't have any level of contribution, and everybody is interested in the self, not the real self, but that egoic self, and bringing that self out into the world to fight with all the other egoic selves. So this is where Krishna says that I have to come into existence. And in this context, he has come especially for the teaching of Bhagavad Gita, the Mahabharata, all of this we see. So the capacity to make informed choice in life is called dharma. Dharma is the marker for that choice. So in the next verse, he carries on by telling us why he is here. He says, Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam dharma samstapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. So the Avatara, divine incarnation, in this verse he clarifies, I come for three purposes. What are the three purposes? Paritranaya sadhunam. See, dharma, if it is on the decline, who protects dharma? The people who live a life of dharma protect dharma. So here he says, Paritranaya sadhunam, for the protection of those ethical people who protect this dharma. So he protects the people. He has come into incarnation to protect the people who live ethical lives. Vinashaya dushkritam, he says, and those people who are not living ethical lives, he's come to teach them. Oh, Vinashaya doesn't mean destroy. He comes to put them on the right pursuit. So there's no destruction here. The destruction is of negative forces, the negative tendencies, negative thinking, and he turns those people into the right direction, onto the path of dharma. So Vinashaya dushkritam, those people who are off the path, who don't know the right way, Krishna says, I have come for this purpose, to put them on the right way and re-establish this ethical lifestyle. And the third one, dharma samstapanarthaya, that I want to re-establish this dharma on earth. So how do we re-establish dharma? By making, of course, people live in accordance with it, by making people see the importance of it. You can see now, even in the 4th chapter, how important it is. This ethical lifestyle has been highlighted throughout all the chapters. Living, this karma yoga lifestyle, doing what is to be done. And it is not for anybody else's sake we're doing this. It is for our own spiritual growth. So that is what we have to keep in mind. We're not living the ethical lifestyle for anybody else. I'm not doing it to impress people in society. I'm not doing it to impress my friends or my relations. I am doing it for my own spiritual growth. So Krishna says, I guide people, I make people live this life of dharma. So dharma samstapanarthaya tadatmanam srijamyaham. Again, srijami means, as I said, I create myself. Nobody else creates him. He voluntarily comes into existence, and his birth, his appearance is not because of prakriti like ours. Sambhavami, I am born. Yuge yuge, which means time period after time period. So there are certain yugas that we talk about in the Vedic scriptures. Yuga is a certain time period. And, there's very big calculations about the time periods of different yugas. But we're not going into those technical aspects. We understand that he says the birth is taken yuge yuge, repeatedly. The divine comes into incarnation for a certain purpose. So this yuga is also, right now, we are in the time period which is called Kali. Kali literally means quarrels. And you can see that happening. We're in the quarreling time period of humanity. And I think we have another 400,000 years to go. So we won't see the end of it. But after this Kali Yuga, there is supposed to be the next time period for humanity called Satya Yuga, the golden age, where, there's going to be a time of harmony, of peace. So these yugas, these cycles are usually repeated like this. So Kali, they say nearing the end, even though there's quite a few years left, there's going to be a lot of wars and strife and a lot of quarrels. And we can see that also happening in today's day and age. So now with this, Krishna concludes the Avatara topic, and he will talk about himself much more. He's just introducing himself as Ishvara, as, not just the form Krishna, but as the divine force of the universe. He introduces himself in this chapter, but he unfolds himself in the 7th to 12th chapters. So now he talks about his birth being divine birth, Divya Janma. He says Divya Janma, it is not created by his own activities or his results of actions. When one understands that divinity can appear in such a way, if you can grasp the power of this appearance, Krishna says, Janma karma cha me divyam evam yo veti tattvataha tyaktva deham punarjanma naiti mameti sorjuna. So from now, from slowly he's entering the topic of the 4th chapter, which is actually knowledge and moksha. He says, Yaha veti mama divyam janma tattvataha, which means the one who knows the secret of my divine appearance, divya janma. English divine may come from divya, Sanskrit divine. So it is unlike any other birth, he says. It is extraordinary. Mama divyam karma veti, not just his birth, his activities in that appearance is also divine, incomprehensible. We say divine magic, divine leela. The divine leela means the divine sport or play of the Lord. He says it's Aishwaryam karma. His karma, whatever he does, he says it's Aishwaryam karma. So Aishwaryam literally means glorious. Why is it glorious? Because everything Krishna does is not for his own fullness. It is not for feeling complete. It is out of completeness. It is not born of desire. So his words, his thoughts, and his deeds, while he appears on the planet, are for the benefit of others. So it very beautifully, he says, Aishwaryam karma, the people who understand the glory of my activity in this world, and the people who understand the divinity of my birth, those people, tattvataha veti, they know what is really true. Tattvataha means the truth, satyam. And they know the dependent reality, mithya. So they don't get the two realities mixed up. We're living in that dependent reality, which is mithya, but they know that the truth of Krishna is that satyam, pure, limitless consciousness. So he says here, Tyaktva deham punarjanma naiti mameti sorjuna. That person who knows me in such a way, he doesn't take another birth again. He doesn't come back in another body, because if he knows me in such a way, that means he has discovered me. So he's not subject to rebirth. So when this physical body, his physical body dies off, he will, he will become one with the universe. So again, he says, knowledge of Ishvara is as good as knowledge of the self. When you know Ishvara, the truth of Ishvara, it is knowing the truth of yourself. He says here, Saha Mam Eti. After death, what happens? See, while he is alive, he is already free because he knows the truth of Ishvara, and he knows himself also to be the same essence as that Ishvara, pure consciousness. But after death, Krishna says also, he gains me, he reaches me. What is this reaching? There is nothing to reach, in fact. It's just, these verbs you have to understand properly. Reach is in the level of knowledge, in the level of, it is called Videha Mukti. So there are two types of liberations, two words for liberation. One is Jivan Mukti. Jivan Mukti is liberation while living. So while you are in the physical body, you are free. You're a free being, self-realized, self-discovered being. That is called Jivan Mukti. But what happens after you die? That is called Videha Mukti. So when you shed the physical form, that Videha Mukti is actually the final liberation, which means your subtle body also is resolved. Until Videha Mukti, your subtle body will keep traveling from form to form, from womb to womb, tomb to tomb. So the subtle body is what is recycled. But in Videha Mukti, what happens to the subtle body? It gets resolved. The subtle and causal become one with the universe, one with Ishvara. So this is what he's saying here. Saha Mam Eti means that only Ishvara is there. In fact, even while living, you can see more and more when you study Vedanta, you dissolve. Actually, there's no such thing as individuality. Who does this physical body that you take yourself to be belong to? This physical body itself belongs to the earth. It belongs to the elements. Everybody's physical body is one with all the elements. The composition of my body is not different from the composition of any other body or any other object I see on this planet, because everything is 5 elements. So this physical body I can't claim really to be mine. It belongs to earth. But the I thought in each one says my body, mine, right? So we say each one has their own body. But if you resolve yourself constantly through inquiry, you see, I cannot be this physical body. It is the same as all physical bodies, and it resolves into the whole universe. And I cannot be this mind, because the mind also, the mind is objectified. I'm not the mind. The mind is in order of Ishvara. That psychological order we saw is also Ishvara. So the mind also dissolves into Ishvara's order. Then all that is there, that is permeating me, the individual, is nothing but Ishvara. Ishvara is all that is there. So this eti, this verb means gains this Ishvara in terms of knowledge. You see that you are non-separate. In biological order pervades you, chemical order pervades you, physical order pervades you, psychological order pervades you, physiological order pervades you. For us, that order is Ishvara. So where are you away from him, and where is he away from you? So here Bhagavan says that person who understands the true nature of myself means the individual ego is falsified. In fact, the Shastra, it reiterates again and again, text after text, the individual that you take yourself to be is a false entity. It's an imposter you. That is not the real self. In fact, there is no individual you at all. That is the frightening thing. The imposter you is the one that separates you from the whole of humanity, which separates you from the whole of the rest of the universe. That individual I thought is the one that keeps you separate. When in reality, the Advaita Vedanta says that there is no such thing as individual, all that is there is Ishvara, then where is the fear? Where is the worry? Where is the anxiety? There is nothing else to fight against, right? So separation, Krishna says here, I'm unfolding it, but he says it is as though separation, not true in reality. Everybody's alienation, isolation, loneliness, all of these feelings are because of identification with the imposter self. So now Krishna picks up the thread, the subject matter of the Bhagavad Gita. How do we cross over sorrow? So many have gained liberation on this path, and he talks about that now. Vitaragabhaya krodhaha manmaya mamupashritaha bahavo jnana tapasa puta madbhavamagataha. He says a number of people have reached him. Bahavaha madbhavamagataha. So it is not just a one-off thing. He is actually saying many people have achieved this knowledge. Many people have reached me through knowing the self, to understanding the self. This is a well-trodden path. We may think it is a very lonely journey, but many people have gone before and they've laid the path for others to follow. It is not what Krishna is saying is not a new thing I'm speaking about. Many people have come to me through these teachings, through understanding the truth of themselves. And reaching the Lord is what, again, we have to understand. Discovering Ishvara in your heart. Heart is actually, in English, we say heart, but synonym with the manaha aspect of thinking in Sanskrit. Manaha and heart are the same things, one in English and one in Sanskrit, but discovering the consciousness, which is Ishvara in the form of consciousness sitting in the heart, in your mind. That is called discovery. That is called reaching. He says, Jnana tapasa puta. Such people who he's talking about, who have reached him, who've discovered, they have purified themselves. How have they purified themselves? So in the second chapter, third chapter, we saw purification in terms of karma yoga, through acting in the world with a certain attitude, which gives you chitta shuddhi, that purity. But here he goes one step further, jnana tapasa. Jnana tapasa means purified by this fire of knowledge. They have taken to this tried and tested path without fear, and this jnana tapasa means they immerse themselves in shravanam, mananam, nididhyasanam. So they have gone one step further from this karma yoga lifestyle, and they are immersed in listening to the words of Vedanta, in reflecting upon the words of Vedanta and clearing their doubts, and contemplating on the nature of the self. That is called jnana tapasa. Every other means is an indirect means. The direct means is knowledge. So every other means prepares you for this jnana tapas. It is not easy to get to this stage, but the karma yoga lifestyle should culminate in your being able to focus for a length of time on this words of Vedanta and be able to contemplate as well. So you can see how much, actually you can see yourselves, how much contemplation we need on this path, right? We are looking at our thoughts. To falsify the I thought, first of all, you have to separate that I thought from other thoughts. Right now, we're living totally absorbed by all our thoughts. We are not even, we don't have time to even think who is claiming the other thoughts in the mind. Is there a space between that I and my other thoughts? We don't have time to even have this type of inquiry. So you can just imagine how much contemplation one needs and this quiet solitude to actually look at the mind and see that I is not as real as you think it is. When you go to sleep tonight, who goes to sleep? Yeah, you lay your physical body down on the bed, you close your eyes, and who is sleeping? Actually, the I thought is asleep. All your relationships, all your problems, everything that you face throughout this day or everything you're carrying with you goes to sleep with you at night, right? But you don't die in the night. You are still surviving in the night. The prana or the vital airs are working within you automatically. Involuntary actions of respiration, all of those are taking place due to Ishvara's grace, that order of the physiological order that is taking place. But where are you? That you is dormant, but you still continue to exist minus the dormant I, right? So if you are still existing in deep sleep, minus the I thought, what is the logic there? You cannot be the I thought. But as soon as you wake up, what happens? That I says, hi, I'm awake, another day, all the problems come back to the mind, memory starts joining with the I thought, then you get busy in the world, and then you're totally consumed with the activities in the world. So this is where that Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasanam, which is the main methodology of gaining and assimilating this knowledge, becomes a tapas. It becomes a practice. Not easy to gain. He says, such people, Vitaraga Bhaya Krodaha, they are also relatively free from raga, from extreme ambition, extreme drive. They're relatively free. They're happy to live a minimalistic lifestyle. So generally, people, I've said this before, people are worried their ambition will drop off with Vedanta. And I can tell you right now, if you want to have ambition, then better you drop Vedanta, because ambition and Vedanta don't really go together. The whole ambition shifts to discovering the self, not in Artha Kama. So here, raga is always, this push towards gaining something, getting something. So here he says, Vitaraga, these people are very happy to have a simple lifestyle. Bare minimum they are content with, because their focus is in jnanam, acquiring jnanam. So that Vitaraga, also raga can be, the desire. They are not bothered whether desire is fulfilled or not, because being a karma yogi, they've lived that life where they're free from that as well. Of course, if you're free from kama, vitaraga, you're free from krodha, anger, because both of them we saw in the 3rd chapter, they come together. So anger also you are free from, because you have managed your desires. Once you manage your desires, you manage your anger also. So nobody becomes a victim of any kind of angry outburst. So here, less attachment. This person does not react like he used to in life. He is very peaceful and calm, because his mind has been focused on Ishvara. And Krishna goes on to say, Man Maya. Man Maya, very beautiful. These people who have discovered me have resolved their emotions in me. It takes years to resolve one's emotions, not easy, because many things come from our childhood, past life baggage also we're carrying, emotional baggage. But again, rarely we address this issue. Krishna is giving a solution here. Resolve your emotions in Ishvara. Resolving the emotions, what does it mean? It means assimilating your past, number one thing. What has happened has happened. It cannot be different. People may have hurt me. I may have hurt others. I carry a lot of these emotions which have not been addressed, and they come up in my life in other relationships also. So resolving the emotions in Ishvara, we begin first with acknowledging that I have a background, that I have a past, I have gone through certain experiences. I cannot change those experiences, accepting that this is what life has dealt me, these cards, but I've grown from them, I've learned from them. I will not be in the position I am now if not for those past experiences. So resolving in Ishvara, Manmaya, means seeing his order in your past. Past cannot be changed. Past is past. But I see Ishvara's orders. What was meant to be was meant to be, and I resolve my hurt and guilt in Ishvara's order. Manmaya, very beautiful word he uses here. You need, as an individual, we need an infallible source of help. Even the therapist or people that we go to, we look to talk out our problems, or we look to address some of our issues. They are also fallible. People are made fallible, so we cannot blame the human for being fallible. But Ishvara, the infallible, cannot let you down. So when you understand the order that pervades you, your past and other people's also actions towards you or their behavior towards you, you assimilate within Ishvara's order. So he says, Manmaya, give your mind to me. Give your emotions to me. Mamupashritaha, take refuge in me. So very beautifully, Krishna is giving himself as the main support in the spiritual seeker's life. Krishna is just a form, but he's speaking in the level of Ishvara. I am the support for these people who have recognized me. They have seen that they don't control all the shots in their life. They have surrendered to me, Mamupashritaha, taken refuge in me. The egos have bowed to a greater source of strength. So, Mamupashritaha, Puta Madbhavam Bhavo Agataha. They're totally purified. Their peaceful mind is a pure mind. So, as I said, this accumulated, when we go through a lot of experiences in life, the older we get, the more dirt we accumulate mentally. And this is a fact. We don't look into our minds as we keep our bodies clean. Do we keep our minds clean? Shastra says daily mental cleansing should be done. As I give my body a bath, I should give my mind a bath daily as well. Whatever issues I have, it should not be carried on to the next day. But generally what we do, we neglect our mind because nobody can see the mind. Usually I keep clean whatever other people can see, right? So mind, nobody sees. So I don't, bother with it too much. But that is where we make a mistake in life, because the more I allow accumulation to happen, the more difficult it gets when I'm older. And we can see that in lives of older people as well. They have a lot of things that they have not assimilated. So puta mat bhava magata means pay attention to the mind. You make it so nothing can disturb it any longer. But for that, you need to clear out the dirt, clear everything out. So raga, dvesha, again, neutralization, Krishna's talking about. And he says here that knowing the true nature of, Ishvara is the only way to find this happiness, limitlessness that you are. So the question may come now, when discovering Ishvara is possible, by knowing his nature, by knowing your reality, who you are, then why people don't listen to Krishna? Why people don't listen? That moksha is possible by discovering Krishna. Why people don't follow his advice? So he says, Ye yatha mam prapadyante tanstateva bhajamyaham mama vartmanu vartante manushyav partha sarvashaha. So again, Krishna is talking as Ishvara in these verses. He says, everybody follows me alone. They follow me only whether they know it or not. This is a very beautiful verse because it shows that whatever anybody is doing, in fact, you are after Ishvara alone. Mama vartmanu vartante. Whole of humanity is after me alone. They just don't know it. They don't recognize it. What is he talking about when he says this? Everybody we know is after happiness. So the Lord is in the form of happiness. He is the very source of ananda, the source of joy. So he says, Mama vartmanu vartante. I am in the form of happiness. Everybody is after me ultimately through all their pursuits. So they may look for the happiness in this object or this person, but ultimately, who are they looking for? They are looking for me alone. They don't know I am the one who is sought. And even if the detour, they're taking a lot of detours in life, looking at other things, they are still looking for me. The other things that they're looking for are time-bound. So obviously, it will disappoint when they disappear. But they are just detours, but they're going to reach me alone. Krishna says, Manushya partha sarvashaha. All humanity, human beings everywhere, sarvashaha, want me alone. Very beautifully, he says this because moksha is whether people know it or not, what they really want is this liberation from sorrow, freedom from sorrow, and this limitless joy always. But he says, because they don't know that moksha is the way forward, they look for me in all the limited goals, the limited ends. They don't know that it is me that they really want, but they spend the time thinking of all these small little things, objects of the world, without recognizing that it is me behind all those objects. Seeking one aspect of me, they will never be satisfied, but they are still on the track of discovering me alone. What about those who ask only for me? What about those who seek me, who is the form of moksha, of liberation, limitlessness? Lord is in the form of grace. He says, I bless anyone who invokes me in any form they choose. And that's a very beautiful line. So it shows that any form that you invoke the one, that one responds, ye yatha mam prapadyante tata eva tam aham bhajami. Let any person worship me, invoke me, pray to me, however they want. They can chant, they can dance a tribal dance. They can speak in Swahili. Krishna does not, Ishvara does not only understand Sanskrit. All languages he understands. You can pray to him in English, in French, in Japanese. All languages are responded to. This verse, he's saying that aham bhajami, I shower my grace through whichever form I am invoked. I shower grace on that being. Because what is grace? They invoke me because they want their desires fulfilled. And I am that order of giver of results of action, the karma paladata. So I am ready to give health, name, fame, everything that humanity asks for. Because ultimately, behind all their requests, what Krishna says is they want only me. So very beautifully, he says modes of worship can be different, but the result will always be the same because it is the Shraddha that counts. It is the Shraddha that this Ishvara will bless. We see this in all cultures, especially the indigenous cultures, They have their own chants, they have their own prayers, their own ways of worship, but the one responds to everything. So Krishna is saying here, your intention becomes the most important. That is why before you do any puja, I always say, before chanting or doing puja, make a sankalpa, state your intention to the universe. What is it you want to achieve from this exercise or this activity, this chanting? Because when you state your intention to the universe, it's called sankalpa, the universe responds with the fulfillment of the intention. So this is an important thing Krishna is highlighting in this verse. He says, I am available to you as in the form of various powers in this universe, various laws, all possibilities. I am that form. You invoke me in any other form, it comes to me. There's a very beautiful Sanskrit verse which talks about this. I always remember this. Akashat patitam toyam yatha gacchati sagaram sarvadeva namaskaram keshavam pratigacchati. Just as the rains fall from the skies and the water of the rains flows through all the water bodies to the ocean, to the one ocean, any namaskara, any salutation, any invocation done to any deity reaches the one. There is only one it reaches. So it's a very beautiful sloka, which is what Krishna is saying here. It doesn't matter, Shiva, Krishna, Rama, Jesus. You can take any form. You can pray in any language, take any form, and he says, I will bless. So now Krishna says The reason why people don't come to him directly is because they are totally absorbed by limited ends and quick results. So if you go to other deities, especially in Hinduism, you have, particular deities that you go to for particular results, like Lakshmi for wealth. She's very popular in India, wealth goddess. And there are other deities. Ganesha is also popular because obstacles come in life. So he becomes a very popular god as well to go to. So Krishna says, these forms are taken for particular ends in life. He says, Kangshantah karmanam siddhim yajanta iha devataha kshipram himanushe loke siddhir bhavati karmaja. Kshipram hi manushe loke siddhir bhavati karmaja. So, because the results of action come quicker for limited ends. So these deities are in charge. They're like the managing directors of certain departments. So they are given that charge. But if you want moksha, it is a lifelong process. It is arduous journey, not easy. But people want these small minor deities for quick results, and the blessing, whatever they seek, the blessing comes very quickly. Like you find in India, like there are, if you want rains, there was a time with a drought. So everybody does this Varuna Japa. So he is the god of rains and waters. So you do Varuna Japa because you want a specific result of rains. You're not looking for the rains in next life. You want it now. Then you have also a ritual called Avahanti Homa, which is a fire ritual. And if you do that ritual, you get wealth. So these are the type of things that he's talking about. These minor deities, especially the planetary deities in India, are very popular. Saturn, there's a famous temple for Saturn, Shani, in South India. And it is the most popular temple. In fact, Saturn is meant to be the deity, the planet that is very difficult in one's chart. It is that slow-moving planet, Shani. So people often say, oh, you're going through the 7 years of Sade Sati, the 7 years of Saturn. It's a difficult time for you. Or you're going through the major period of Saturn. Poor Saturn is blamed for everything. But if you go to the temple in South, where Saturn is worshipped, it is the most popular temple. You can't even go near the deity. People are so desperate, for results, because they want the appeasement to appease that deity so they get good results in their life. So it's interesting how, this is what Krishna is saying. People, go after these quick results because material path, you pick up some joy along the way. It is not useless. If we did not have some joy in life, we would all have killed ourselves by now. So some joy Ishvara has given through the material path. But what Krishna is highlighting here is that nothing is separate from me. Why are you looking for all those little things when I am here? People are not ready for the vision because they're not ready for discovering the reality of Ishvara, and interested more in all the perishable things that are coming and going, because those things are more tangible. You can hold them, you can feel them, you can experience them. So the material cause of Ishvara is more important than intelligent cause. So Krishna says that he doesn't deny anybody. Through the other deities, he blesses everybody. He gives the results. So people, yajanta iha devataha, means they seek limited ends through all the deities. They are not really interested in me because they want immediate pleasure. The eternal, they don't understand, cannot be discovered by constantly chasing the external. The eternal can never be discovered by constantly chasing the external. However, kangshantak karmanam siddhim, desiring the results of action, the ignorant people worship various deities for short-term gains as well. So Bhagavan, if we understand this, what Krishna is saying really basically is that If you worship me, the result is not instant. That's what he's saying through all this. If you worship me, the result is not instant. If you ask for me alone, the result is not instant, but it is permanent. It is knowledge, so it requires a preparation for a length of time. Lots of efforts to clean this temple of body, mind, sense complex, the instrument to know. How do we prepare for this? He talks throughout the Gita. There are so many different types of people also. Some seek Krishna, some people seek the minor deities and look for material goals. Some people just surrender to their nature and they're not even bothered of any of this spiritual pursuit anyway. So the question may come, how is there so much variation in this world? So Krishna answers this doubt in the next verse we will see on Thursday. It's a very famous verse. It talks about the varnashrama, the varna system. So the caste system in India has been misunderstood. This verse will clarify the divisions of the caste, as you called it caste, but casta was a Portuguese term introduced by the Portuguese, who invaded India. There is no such thing as caste, actually. Here in this next verse, Krishna divides society according to the gunas, the qualities that people have. So your personality division and your professional division, it is not because of birth. So we'll see that next time. It's a very interesting verse, requires some unfoldment, but we can chant the verses that we have seen from 7, and nice to contemplate on the meanings as we chant. So who would like to repeat after me? Some practice. Anybody with their videos on? Yes, Swati. Good. Can unmute. Yada yada hi dharmasya.
Hari Om. Yada yada hi dharmasya.
Twice.
Yada yada hi dharmasya.
Glanirbhavati bharata.
Glanirbhavati bharata. Glanirbhavati bharata.
Abhyuthanam dharmasya.
Abhyudhanam dharmasya. Abhyudhanam dharmasya.
Tadatmanam srijamyaham.
Tadatmanam srujamyaham. Tadatmanam srujamyaham.
Paritranaya sadhunam.
Paritranaya sadhunam. Paritranaya sadhunam.
Paritranaya sadhunam.
Paritranaya sadhunam. Paritranaya sadhunam.
Vinashaya cha dushkritam.
Vinashaya cha dushkritam. Vinashaya cha dushkritam.
Dharma samstapanarthaya.
Dharma samstapanarthaya. Dharma samstapanarthaya.
Sambhavami yuge yuge.
Sambhavami yuge yuge. Sambhavami yuge yuge.
Janma karma cha me divyam.
Janma karma cha me divyam. Janma karma cha me divyam.
Evam yo veti tatvataha.
Evam yo veti tatvataha. Evam yo veti tatvataha.
Tyaktva deham punarjanma.
Tyaktva deham punarjanma. Tyaktva त्यक्त्वा देहं पुनर्जन्म
नैति मामेति सोऽर्जुन
नैति मामेति सोऽर्जुन नैति मामेति सोऽर्जुन
वीतरागभयक्रोधाः
वीतरागभयक्रोधाः वीतरागभयक्रोधाः
मन्मया मामुपाश्रिताः
मन्मया मामुपाश्रिताः मन्मया मामुपाश्रिताः
बहवो ज्ञानतपसा
बहवो ज्ञानतपसा बहवो ज्ञानतपसा
पूता मद्भावमागताः
पूतामद्भावमागताः पूतामद्भावमागताः
Good. ये यथा मां प्रपद्यन्ते
ये यथा मां प्रपद्यन्ते ये यथा मां प्रपद्यन्ते
तांस्तथैव भजाम्यहम्
तांस्तथैव भजाम्यहम् तांस्तथैव भजाम्यहम्
मम वर्त्मानुवर्तन्ते
मम वर्त्मानुवर्तन्ते मम वर्त्मानुवर्तन्ते
मनुष्याः पार्थ सर्वशः
मनुष्याः पार्थ सर्वशः मनुष्याः पार्थ सर्वशः.
So that manushyav, it should be a first sound. The sandhi, manushyav partha sarvashah.
मनुष्याः पार्थ सर्वशः मनुष्याः पार्थ सर्वशः
काङ्क्षन्तः कर्मणां सिद्धिम्
काङ्क्षन्तः कर्मणां सिद्धिम् काङ्क्षन्तः कर्मणां सिद्धिम्
यजन्त इह देवताः
यजन्त इह देवताः यजन्त इह देवताः
क्षिप्रं हि मानुषे लोके
क्षिप्रं हि मानुषे लोके क्षिप्रं हि मानुषे लोके
सिद्धिर्भवति कर्मजा
सिद्धिर्भवति कर्मजा सिद्धिर्भवति कर्मजा.
ॐ सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत् असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मा अमृतं गमय. ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते. ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. हरिः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः. हरिः ॐ. Namaste. See you all on Thursday evening for a very important verse. Very interesting. Hari Om.